Ask me anything. Well, thank you, Geostrata, for the question. And I sometimes tell people back in America when they say, just how big is India? I say, if you put all the Indians who are 15 years and younger together, that's as many people as we have in America. So young Indians are not going to only define their country, but will influence the world. And I want to make sure they meet more young Americans and vice versa. Till recently, we've always had great numbers of Indians coming to America to study, but we haven't had many Americans relatively coming to India. I want to change that. I want to bring community college students who might have never left America or even their home state, who could spend maybe a couple weeks here and see India, become ambassadors for India in many ways, and change their life. That's what I was when I came here first when I was a 14-year-old, and for the rest of my life told everybody about how amazing India was. I also think that our young people have so much to share with one another. Being young is tough. You can feel isolated, you can get depressed, you wonder if you're ever going to have a great future, but sometimes connecting with somebody an ocean away makes all the difference. I remember having an overseas pen pal, and just being able to talk to somebody else who wasn't just right where I was, in many ways made me think that my dreams could come true. So whether it's on music, whether it's in studying, whether it's looking at the ways that we can just use humor or social media to connect, I think the young people of India and the young people of America, who are very fond of each other in the abstract, can get to know each other in the specific and make sure that this relationship today exists for generations to come. Ankit, you snuck a question in from New York. I love New York, by the way. I'm from LA, that other big city, but I went to school in New York and recently went back to that school, Columbia University, to be a distinguished visiting fellow at the Global Center for Energy Policy, which really, we talked with so many of our Indian counterparts about these exact questions. How can we have a more secure future? And in particular, energy security. So let me talk about both. First, with security in general. We're two democracies. We're two countries that don't want to export power, take over other countries. We want to protect those things that are in the global commons, whether it's the unimpeded sea lanes that all countries should be able to transit without fear, whether it's sovereignty and borders, which should be sacrosanct. And we've certainly seen here how important that is to India and to Indians. And we've seen recently in the world how important it is to stand up against aggression across borders. We are putting together, I think, the closest cooperation between our militaries we've ever seen. In fact, India has more military exercises now with the United States than any other country in the world. Something unthinkable just even a couple decades ago. We're co-producing weaponry together. We have sales of protective weapons that can help India have deterrence. And we're talking about common threats together. And those aren't just military threats. Those are threats from climate, threats of poverty, health threats as well. Now, when it comes to energy, perhaps one of the greatest threats is how do we keep fueling the growth of countries like India and of the world economy without destroying our environment? Here's 2 or 3 concrete ways that we're going to do that together. One is with alternative energies, whether it's looking at manufacturing solar here in India that we can use in the United States, whether it's looking at green hydrogen, which both America and India are trying to get down to a cheap enough price to replace the burning of fossil fuels, which can destroy our environment, or whether it's looking at the financing of things like electric buses here in this country by using some American capital and some know-how of our electrification of fleets. We're changing the main 4 things, which is our transportation, our electricity, our buildings, and of course our energy generation together. We get those done and we truly can change the future for our children and their children. But I'm so proud that as part of ISET, that energy and the environment is really squarely at the center of the things we will do together.